High blood sugar damages your body long before diagnosis, silently harming your eyes, kidneys, and heart. But a few powerful foods can help reverse that damage by flushing out excess sugar and steadying your glucose naturally. In this video, you'll discover 3 doctor-approved superfoods that do exactly that, and the common mistake that can cancel their effects entirely. Now, let's start with a food that helps your body respond to insulin more efficiently: bitter melon. It's a clinically studied option for post-meal control that helps your cells pull in more glucose when you need it most. You're not forcing a crash, you're improving how your body handles the sugar from your plate. You may have heard mixed reviews, but clinical data shows benefits on both ends: post-meal control and longer-term markers. In addition to reducing early post-meal glucose, trials have reported meaningful HbA1c drops over 8 to 12 weeks. Think shifts from around 7.8% down to the mid-sevens, showing that bitter melon can support both immediate and sustained improvements. How does it do that? Bitter melon contains insulin-like compounds that help amplify your own signaling. A peptide called MCIRBP19 can bind the insulin receptor and switch on its kinase activity. Downstream, that supports more GLUT4 moving to the cell surface, where it acts like a door for glucose to enter muscle and fat cells. The takeaway: better receptor activity plus more GLUT4 at the surface means sugar leaves the bloodstream sooner, especially useful right after meals. A 12-week randomized placebo-controlled trial in Korean adults with prediabetes adds real-world weight. Participants taking a standardized bitter melon extract saw lower glucose at 30 minutes during an OGTT, and their glucagon levels dropped at 120 minutes. Lower post-meal glucagon matters because glucagon tells your liver to release glucose. When it goes down after eating, your liver eases off, so the meal's sugar isn't stacked on top of extra liver output. There's a secondary angle, too. Some extracts appear to inhibit carbohydrate-digesting enzymes, including alpha-glucosidase. Slower digestion means a more gradual glucose rise, which gives your insulin signaling a better chance to keep pace, but not all products are equal. The Korean study used an extract standardized for total polyphenols and flavonoids, and dose and quality clearly influenced outcomes. You can put this to work today. Consider a standardized extract with meals. Human trials have used daily intakes around 2.4 grams divided across the day. Or add about half to 1 cup of sautéed bitter melon to a protein-rich plate, and watch your meter at the 1 and 2 hour marks over 2 to 4 weeks. Now, to shrink a spike even further, you can also moderate how fast carbs hit your bloodstream, an approach that pairs well with insulin support. Which brings us to okra, a green vegetable that stands out for how it changes the pace of digestion. Okra is rich in viscous fiber and mucilage, the thick gel-forming part, that changes the texture of a meal and delays how quickly carbohydrates move through your gut. When the meal slows, your glucose curve flattens and insulin has a better chance to keep up. Here's the catch: not all okra works the same. Some studies show strong results while others are modest, and the difference often comes down to form and timing. Long, consistent use and keeping the gel intact make a bigger impact than a one-off serving or highly processed extracts. Cooking styles that keep that slip help more than methods that dry it out or drown it in sugar. That gel is the engine. Viscous fiber and mucilage form a layer in the small intestine that limits enzyme access to starch and reduces glucose transport across the gut wall. The result is slower starch breakdown and a delayed rise in blood sugar. This isn't a crash, it's a steady release that shows up as smoother post-meal lines and fewer late spikes. The evidence backs it up. A meta-analysis pooling clinical studies found consistent drops in fasting glucose, and several randomized trials reported HbA1c improvements over 8 to 12 weeks. Many of these same trials noted meaningful lipid changes too, including reductions in LDL and total cholesterol. The fiber can bind bile acids and cholesterol for excretion, giving you a 2-for-1 benefit on metabolic risk. Okra brings antioxidants as well. Its polyphenols help curb oxidative stress, which can support insulin signaling and protect beta cell function over time. Dose and form matter. Studies suggest powdered okra at doses of 3,000 milligrams per day or less, often as little as 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams daily, or regular servings of whole pods are linked with better glycemic and lipid changes, especially when you stick with it beyond 8 weeks. Higher doses don't necessarily add benefit, and sugar-laden preparations work against you. Put it on your plate. Add sliced okra to stews, gumbo, or tomato-based soups, or roast whole pods with simple seasonings. Pair it with rice or pasta meals to blunt spikes and make the curve more predictable. Use okra as your meal's speed governor. Include it in higher carb meals 4 to 5 days a week, and reassess your CGM or meter curves after 2 to 3 weeks. And if you want an extra nudge on the curve at mealtime, there's a simple pantry staple that can help. Apple cider vinegar is a straightforward tool for taming mealtime spikes. A tablespoon before a carb-heavy meal can change the entire glucose curve. How? The key is acetic acid, the component that gives apple cider vinegar its bite. Acetic acid slows how fast the stomach empties and reduces enzyme activity that breaks starch into glucose. When food moves out more slowly and enzymes work less aggressively, your rise after eating becomes smaller and more gradual. Vinegar sounds almost too simple. You might wonder whether it's strong enough to matter day to day and whether it's safe to use often. Small randomized trials in people with type 2 diabetes and prediabetes report meaningful improvements in fasting glucose and post-meal readings. An 8-week study using 20 to 30 milliliters per day found better glycemic control and even some lipid improvements. The amounts were modest and used with meals, which supports routine use for most adults when diluted. Here's how it works under the hood. Acetic acid dampens alpha amylase and disaccharidases, the enzymes that break down starches and sugars. It also slows gastric emptying, so carbs trickle into the small intestine rather than rushing in at once. In insulin-resistant states, studies show improved postprandial insulin sensitivity, which means the same amount of insulin moves more glucose into cells after the meal. The effect is more visible when the meal is higher in carbohydrates. Timing makes or breaks it. Taking apple cider vinegar shortly before or with a meal produces the strongest effect. One trial using about 20 grams immediately before a mixed meal lowered postprandial glycemia in insulin-resistant adults. Another study found bedtime vinegar could moderate waking glucose in well-controlled type 2 diabetes. For everyday use, 1 to 2 tablespoons diluted in water before your higher carb meals is a practical starting point. Keep it safe. Always dilute. Undiluted shots can irritate the esophagus and erode dental enamel. Sip through a straw, then rinse your mouth. If you deal with reflux or gastroparesis, go slowly or seek advice, since vinegar can further slow stomach emptying. Avoid large chronic intakes that could lower potassium. Quick start formula. Mix 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar in 8 to 12 ounces of water and drink it 5 to 10 minutes before your highest carb meal. Track your 1 hour and 2 hour readings this week. You've just seen how these 3 superfoods flush excess sugar, but if your cells stay resistant, that sugar just keeps coming back. The key is insulin sensitivity, and boosting it is what keeps your levels down for good. In the next video, you'll discover 5 natural foods that do exactly that, so you can enjoy your favorite carbs again without the spikes. Tap it now before your progress slips away.